Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a build guide for the Oath of the Divine Tempest Paladin subclass by LeKarenator. This is a Thor inspired subclass and it's so much fun to play. Right at level 1 we get the Summon Stormforged Warhammer here, which lets you summon in pretty much Mjolnir. This is a really cool weapon that will return to your hand when thrown. There's also the Stormforge Infusion here, so you can channel storm energy into a weapon. Whenever thrown, it'll deal additional lightning damage and will return to your hand. So you can pretty much infuse anything that you want. If there's another Warhammer you want to give a go to, you can do it with this build. We also have the Hurl of Judgment, which does weapon damage and hurl your weapon as a divine act of divine judgment. On impact, it does an additional 2 lightning damage, and your weapon returns to your hand after the strike. We also get the Hurl of Thunderous Force, which will daze the target and knock them back 6 meters instead, which is also very good because daze sets up your hold person in command on your other teammates. And then we also get the Storm Flash here bonus action, which will let you teleport 9 meters with a crackling flash of storm energy. Enemies within 2 meters will take lightning damage, and it uses your channel oath charge. And we also get the option of taking Booming Blade or Shocking Blade, which will block targets from using the reaction, kind of like Shocking Grasp, and the Storm Striker Slash, which will then also do lightning damage instead. I'm going to go with that one as I prefer that. And it's probably best to go with a strength-based build. If you really want to min-max a build like this, it's best to dump that, put points into, do a Dexedin build, and then go with a strength potion to bump that up to the highest possible strength score, and go with a stat spread of something like this. Although you can also pop your strength here. It's probably best if you're doing this from the early game and you don't want to use strength potions to put those points from your dex into your strength. But this would be the min-maxing way. Again, it's just a mod build, so I just want to cover a couple different ways for other people if they want to play a certain way. Now we get our Divine Smites at level 2, which are obviously quite strong, and Create Water, which is awesome. I'd recommend grabbing the Fighting Style Defense. +1 AC is just good for all purposes, no matter what we're doing. And we can grab that Create Water, which I think is a good choice. This can create a lightning surface, and it also will deal double the damage on our lightning attacks. We also got Wrathful Smite. We may as well just grab the other smites, like Thunder Smite makes sense here. Command going to be one of the most powerful spells, because if we daze a target, we're much more likely to land our command. I also like to have Bless or Shield of Faith. And even Thunderwave is nice because it's going to be on this class. Thunderwave does give you a bit of a more pushback, and it's charisma based, which is great. Once we get level 3, we get Divine Health, the Strike from Above. Upon hitting an enemy with your Hurl of Judgment, channel your oath to call down a lightning as a form of bonus action, dealing 1 to 10 lightning damage to nearby allies, enemies. And you also get the Hurl of Lightning Discharge, which does an additional damage, and your weapon will return to your hand after the strike. It's kind of cool. We also got the Howling Gale here, which releases a shockwave from your weapon that tears through your target, dealing additional thunder damage. And the Channel Lightning, which allows you to do additional channel lightning on your attacks, and there's a 50% chance a stray lightning bolt will attack the target for a 1d8 of lightning damage. This is a level 1 spell, and it has 5 turn duration. And we'll prepare the Shield of Faith there. We're not going to go with Searing Smite just because it doesn't really fit thematically here. Level 4, we just get, I guess, another choice in spell. We'll take Bless and our First Feat. Alert is typically going to be your best choice, but an ability score improvement on our Charisma or our Strength Dexterity, depending on your attack stat, works great as well. Once we hit level 5, we get the extra attack. And we also get our Resonating Armor here. Whenever creatures hit you with a melee attack, they're blasted back 5 meters and take 2 to 12 thunder damage. We also have the Storm Strike Smite here. Surge your enemy towards a target like a lightning bolt. On hit, does 2 to 16 lightning damage. On a failed Constitution saving throw, they're stunned for 1 turn, taking them out of combat. This is pretty good, but it does use up your bonus action as well. So that's something, it's an opportunity cost. We also again take a Tempest Infusion here, which will scale up even further. And we're going to go with the new option there. We'll then go with our Branding Smite here. It can be sometimes situationally good. Aid is another decent spell for the overall health that we can give ourselves, which is nice. Aura of Protection, adding our Charisma modifier to saving throws in a 3-meter radius. But level 7 gives us the Forged by Storms, your conduit of divine storms. Dealing lightning damage generates lightning charges, and on hit has a chance to apply Storm Strike. Plus, allies within 3 meters are immune to electric surfaces and gain resistance to lightning damage. It's pretty good. Nice for the buff aspect of that. We'll then throw on the Aid spell, and we have Shatter there too. I guess it's an okay one to have. At level 8, we get another choice in Feed. Spells don't really matter at this point. You can use Mr. Spells if you'd like to. I like the Charisma increase on this because that's going to boost up our Aura Protection. However, Savage Attacker, rerolling your Smites, possibly the best choice that we can go with here. Level 9 gives us another choice in things. We also get the Vortex, Lightning Vortex. Create a Swirling Vortex. Enemies are blinded and take lightning damage, and it's a concentration. We also get the Thunderous Clap. Concentrates volatile energy into a focal point, releasing a thunderous shockwave. Knocks enemies prone. Pretty good stuff. Then we can finally take our Booming Blade there to finish off all the cantrips. We also get Lightning Bolt, which is a great spell to have. We got access to other things. Call Lightning's okay. Elemental Weapon, we can add lightning to our blade, which is cool, but it does require concentration. Crusader's Mantle is good to buff up your team. I guess we can go with these two options here. Revivify is even another good option. And once we get to level 10 here, we got our Aura of Courage, another lay hands charge. At level 11, we get the Charged Storm Rider at 3 lightning charge stacks. You gain the ability to cast Storm Rider as a bonus action, consuming a level 2 spell slot only. And that's a spell strider or Storm Rider there. 5d8 of lightning damage, surge forth upon arrival. Lightning crashes down, dealing 5 that damage. It's pretty good. We also got the improved Divine Smite, which I think is great, and we can do some cool stuff with that. And then we'll take, I guess, the Blinding Smite. Revivify again, be another EC option to take. And level 12 gives us our final feat here. Now, I also will show the level 12 build because that's also pretty fun. I'd recommend grabbing our Charisma here and going all the way to level 20 here now. Level 13 just gives us some more spell selection here. I should have recommended taking Tavern Brawler a little bit earlier, but it does get really strong if you do that. Tavern Brawler is obviously very powerful. I should have mentioned that with the Strength Potion there. I'm just realizing now I missed my note on that, but we'll then take it with the next available feat here. Once we hit level 15, our at 3 charges, our Storm Rider will only cost a level 1 spell slot. So really nice, makes it a little bit more cost effective here. And then level 16, this is when we can take the Tavern Brawler. So obviously throwing damage, crazy boost to our overall damage here. At level 17, we got our Destructive Wave Lightning, which is cool. It does thunder and lightning damage, knocking enemies prone. This is one of the best spells in the game. It's actually a Paladin spell in normal D&D, but it's given to the Clerics in Baldur's Gate 3 here. Level 18, just another level to give ourselves a bit more health. Level 19, if we want to boost our health up all the way, we can go with the Tough Feat to give ourselves 40 health, getting that level 20. And then level 20, just a bit more health. And honestly, there's so many spells, we kind of have everything we need. And this is the Royal Knight Armor by Skirby. Now for gear, I actually like the Hat of Storm Science power. Whenever we deal thunder damage, we get Arcane Acuity. This is good because this is a hat that pretty much no builds use, so we're going to use that there. You could also go into the early game with the Haste Helmet for a bit of movement speed, Cloak Protection for our cloak. The armor I like in early game is the Adamantine Scale Mail. This just reduces our overall damage. If we're using the medium armor version, if we go with the Dexterity, that works well, but there's also the heavy armor version. Armor Persistence obviously being one of the best in the late game for the big damage reduction that we can get from that. Armor of Agility also works well if we went with the Dexterity base build. That's a good choice too. The Dwarven Splint Mail is actually an underrated choice, given a +2 to Constitution. You can get multiple of those as well, which is nice, but I want to go with the Armor Persistence for the late game build now. Early game item, Glove of Belligerent Skies here. Belligerent Skies, giving us thunder, lightning, and radiant damage, applies reverberation in 2 stacks on the enemy. Really good. There's another fun thing that we can do though, and I'll show you in a second here, but Boots of Stormy Clamor will further apply reverberation. We got radiant damage on our main attacks, but that also means that we can go ahead with something crazy like the Luminous Gloves. This is great because this will give the target 2 turns of radiating orbs on that, which then also procs our Boots of Stormy Clamor. Which is even crazier when we can then also proc additional radiating orbs on the enemy with these 2 items here, the Callous Glow Ring and the Coruscation Ring. So we can be a really good debuffer. I also personally like to throw on the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel for bonus action attacks, but we do have a lot of different bonus action abilities. And then I also have the Hellrider Longbow for the +3 to initiative. And we get Hammerhaft here, but the thing is, there is the free Summon Stormforged Warhammer that we can call down here right at the start. And then we got ourselves a nice hammer. And this one gets the additional lightning damage and returns when in our hand. And it'll also do lightning damage when it's thrown. And this will strengthenify or get stronger whenever our oath does increase. So yeah, a lot of fun abilities here. I really think that this is a cool one for all the different gear and combinations you can do. And I'm actually going to throw on the Luminous Armor. That's another really fun option because this will do Radiant Shockwave, doing a 3-meter area, radiating orb -2 to the enemy's attack rolls. It procs off of all this gear and it's actually pretty crazy. And the fun part of it going ahead with something like this, we are a big debuffer, and then it lights up the area, not like lightning, but it's bright. It's kind of cool. Now, since this is a Warhammer, you can use it with a shield here, but I like to go ahead here with the Howling Gale. This does release a shockwave when we attack the enemy here. So we can go ahead there. We apply Radiating Orbs, 8 stacks on that enemy, and then 2 stacks on that one. That's kind of crazy. They have a -8 to their attack roll, which is absurd. I also precasted Resonating Armor here, so whenever enemies attack us, they will take thunder damage themselves. What's cool is we got so many different types of smiting attacks here, so we can use this to jump around and do a damage onto this target, which is enough to take them out, and that now has 10 of stacks of Radiating Orb on them, so that's perfect. They are not going to be hitting anybody. One thing I also want to mention is you can turn on your Divine Smite reactions, so we're constantly using them up, and it does burn through them a little bit quicker, but it's nice for the boost to the damage. Now, we got our Storm Striker Slash here, which is crazy because if they move, they'll end up taking a 5 to 40 lightning damage, kind of absurd, but powerful strike. And that was a bunch of extra lightning damage because we have lightning charges going off. We also have, again, Booming Blade too, which is a nice option We can kind of flow between all of these since you can only use them per action, so you can just continually keep swiping around and doing that. So yeah, it's pretty fun and powerful. And one of the awesome things about getting Lightning Bolt is this is such a good spell if you're a melee attacker, because you're likely going to get in a position where you can hit multiple targets, and then sometimes it's just best to bring that out. That's 10 stacks of Radiating Orbs, 4 stacks, and 2 stacks on that enemy there. Honestly, pretty solid for a single action point worth of attacking. Now, we're just going to go around and use our Booming Blade here to get that extra damage off, and probably going to one-shot a lot of enemies this way. And then we also have things like our Shocking Blade too. So really just use the attacks there. You can throw your hammer as well. Is another thing about this build, is it's got the throwing aspects down. I guess we also got the Storm Forge, or Storm Flash here we can use if we want to teleport and get a little extra damage off. And that's great because it'll also apply Radiating Orbs, 4 stacks of that. But yeah, our Shocking Blade is one of our best skills. I'd honestly recommend, if we can get into position, use Lightning Bolt often. It's honestly a really good ability here, but even things like our Lightning Vortex are good because we can set up this huge area of effect which will do lightning damage, and it'll also blind enemies too, so that can be really effective. Then we can go in for a stomp like that, which does insane amounts of damage. And that's just how strong this build is. Now, I can't reach this target, but I'm going to use this anyways, so I'm going to get mind broken, but that was more than enough to finish them off. So that is the Oath of the Divine Tempest Paladin by LeKarenator here. Really fun class, highly recommend it, especially if you like Thor, Mjolnir, Light here. It's a really fun lightning-based Paladin subclass mod, now available on console and PC, so go download it. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button below, and I hope you guys all have a great day.